a modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week's show is bigger than last week.
What?
We have a trailer from a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
Ant-Man's getting bigger promotions.
Mm.
Batman is totally fighting Superman. And a ton more.
Oh, man. I leave the city for like one weekend to get away to Seattle. And just... When does all this stuff happen on the weekend? I thought the weekend was our days off from all this.
Not anymore. This is a 24/7 gerb.
Oh man, this is intense.
Yeah. It really has been a huge week, and I can't even. It just keeps getting bigger. Like I literally added posters that were unveiled an hour ago, and it's 10 p.m. Eastern time, just to let people know. So. By the time you get this in the morning, this is fresh news.
Yeah, this will be freshy fresh. And of course, we'll probably have some sort of big bomb drop on Mondays, because Mondays and Tuesdays are always the big days for news, too.
Oh, we can only hope so.
But also, we're also going to give our spoiler review of Daredevil at the end of the show.
Yes, that is right. So we talked last week about kind of giving our review of Daredevil, right? And we're going to go no holds barred on this. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to know anything, don't listen to it. But it's at the end of the show.
Yeah. So you'll be able to get the whole week's updates and everything just fine. But I mean, I'm dying to talk about all the parts in the show that I loved. So we'll save that for the very end, bookmark this podcast, or I don't even know how you bookmark a podcast, but you can come back to it when you finish it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll let you know before we start on our spoiler review, so you can pause it there, watch the show, and come back.
Yeah. Don't worry. We like to look out for you guys.
Yeah. Man, honestly, it feels like Daredevil was so long ago at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's what happens when you binge on this stuff.
Yeah. Finish Daredevil, and then next thing you know, Ant-Man's got a trailer. But first things first, related to Daredevil, the first look of some stuff on Jessica Jones came out this week.
Yeah, we got more kind of that first stage of TV production where you kind of just get those on the street shots. I mean, it almost kind of looks identical to the on the street shots we were getting for Daredevil. You kind of get that similar sidewalk look at New York City.
Yeah, it's really weird. No one saw Daredevil in much of his black, but his black suit, right, the whole time. Or most of the pictures were Charlie Cox as a lawyer walking down the street, and I feel like these are a lot of the same because we're getting David Tennant as the villain Kilgrave, aka the Purple Man, talking to Jessica Jones, and actually our first look at Luke Cage will be making his appearance in Jessica Jones before getting his own series. And he's a motorcycle rider.
Now, I don't know if we know this yet, but is this also supposed to be set in Hell's Kitchen, or is it other parts of New York City?
I've been told Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
But I could be very wrong. They could have changed that by now, but everything's being filmed in New York, which is awesome. I actually know a person who was working on the set of Daredevil is actually working on Jessica Jones, so they're using a lot of the same crew, so I assume it's probably a lot of the same locations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be cool. It'll be kind of interesting maybe if we can get other parts of New York City. Maybe they can cruise down to Brooklyn or Queens or something like that. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting more of the same right now. They're just kind of doing this stuff on the outside, which is probably why we're getting so many photos of it, because you can actually get those street photographers that can pick up these shots.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny. You're familiar with Luke Cage, right? Unbreakable skin, right? Why is he wearing a helmet on a motorcycle?
Oh man, it's just trying to keep the looks up.
Must be. Chicks dig motorcycle riders, I guess.
Yeah, maybe if we have any New York City listeners, you can tell us if I'm pretty sure they have to wear helmets or they're going to get pulled over. Maybe he just doesn't want to get harassed by the cops.
I mean, that might be a New York law. I know that's not an Indiana law, so I just don't know the laws out there. But that's what someone else said too. But I just thought it was funny, the guy with the unbreakable skins safety first.
Well, if you had to analyze the photo further, you can see that the helmet is indeed not buckled, showing his disdain for the law.
Oh my gosh. That is so true. That's so true. Oh well, at least she's putting hers on.
Yeah, well, she's being safe.
Yeah, that's right. So kids, follow the superheroes. Put your helmet on when you ride a bike.
Yeah.
That's what we're taking away from that. Something really kind of like went under the radar this week due to all the big news is Marvel's talking about a new TV show.
Yeah, not just one.
Yeah, well, and it's unrelated to what we talked about last week, I'm pretty sure. But John Ridley, who was in charge of 12 Years a Slave, has closed a deal with Marvel to help adapt a new superhero property.
Yeah, I believe he was attached to some sort of crime drama too. I don't know what network it was on, but he's been attached to other things with TV as well.
Yeah, I think that's on the channel with the Blacklist because I keep seeing the commercials, or maybe it's where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. lives. It's like American Crime or something like that.
Yeah, or like True Crime or something like that. It's got crime in the name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and that's kind of been going on. But if he's adapted a Marvel property, what could it be?
Yeah, and this just raises a lot of questions. I actually saw something that says this could be kind of the nail in the coffin for Agent Carter, possibly. If we're getting a spin-off show for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and if this John Ridley show is a new entity in itself and not related to it, you got 2 new shows going on here. Is there going to be room for Agent Carter? It didn't perform very well in the ratings. I think I even saw on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s worst day, it still did better than Agent Carter. So it looks a little shaky for that show, and we said we both enjoyed Agent Carter. Well, so I'm not sure.
Well, I've actually read different reports that Agent Carter is actually pretty much guaranteed a renewal.
Oh yeah.
Because they Marvel liked it. It's 8 episodes. Like, it fills the time gap with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which in season 1 saw a drop in ratings because there was the release was sporadic. You never know if it was a new episode or a rerun or what. And I've seen more that Agent Carter is going to be back, because I even think if this guy's developing a show and he starts tomorrow, there's not going to be enough time to turn it around by the time Agent Carter would be. And since they already had that stuff figured out, they could do another, like, one more series of Agent Carter before they even kick these other ones into gear. So I see at least one more series of Agent Carter before they kick it out.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, we like the show. Maybe on the second season, they can get, a little bit better release. But, I guess now we can kind of speculate what this other show could be, because it sounds like it's not going to be related to S.H.I.E.L.D., so could it be its own standalone hero? And it sounds like it's not going to be on Netflix, because we have a pretty solid, concrete release for these Netflix series, so I'm guessing network.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, because my first guess, with this guy is working 12 Years a Slave in this American crime show, is that he would go with Luke Cage. I would tie in real nice, but they've already announced the showrunner for Luke Cage. And they would definitely say if he was Iron Fist, because they're not shy about the Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
So I definitely see it being network. Maybe another, maybe Marvel's thinking about stepping into multiple miniseries, not just Agent Carter, but in the summer as well, so we get a year full of TV going around the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it would be impossible to make a superhero show 23 episodes, because we've seen Arrow and we've seen Flash do it well, but they're kind of hovering around their own little universe that they're creating. I don't know if this is just going to be one character-driven thing over a whole legit season of 23 episodes, or it does seem to make a little bit more sense that it could be a smaller run, 8 to 13 episodes, and what do you think it's going to be?
I mean, honestly, with this news of Daredevil being so successful, and then this announcement coming so close to that, I imagine it's going to be something like Daredevil. My first guess would have been Moon Knight. That was my first guess, and then I saw other people speculating Cloak and Dagger. But I think that's more teenage, maybe something for Disney Channel rather than actual network television.
Yeah,
so Moon Knight was my first guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants to see the Punisher. I don't think that's going to make it to network, because they got to tone that stuff down. The same thing with Ghost Rider. I mean, I don't know if there's any TV budget out there that could make a flaming skull every single episode. That's going to be a little bit too much. So, I mean, Moon Knight does seem pretty promising. He's a brawler.
He's a lot like Arrow. I mean, he's got money in from his corporations. He knows how to fight hand to hand as a mercenary, and he's got some really cool gadgets.
Yeah,
so it could be very close to an Arrow style show.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be curious, just like everything Marvel's doing now. I'm just curious how it connects in with their universe. Is this just
all connected?
Yeah, I mean, is this just going to be a little bit of a one-off? Are they somehow going to try to roll this into the movies in the future? Who knows? Maybe they want to introduce Moon Knight on TV and have him pop up in the Infinity Wars to throw a punch at Thanos.
Yeah, I don't know, but my guess is we will see it in 2016.
Yeah, you think so?
It's going to be a year and a half before we see anything.
All right, I'm down.
So, any guesses on who you think it could be?
Oh man,
who do you want to see on network television?
That's the thing. I don't want to see really anyone on network television. I don't think they have to tone it. They have to tone everything down, and they have to stretch things out so much. I mean, I just don't know if I have an answer.
Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye, isn't it? You want to see
Oh
Hawkeye?
Man, that's a good idea. If we could get something like a Matt Fraction Hawkeye, that would be cool.
Yeah. We just need to see Hawkeye on his day off when he's not being, an Avenger.
Yeah, running around with his puppy dog.
Pizza dog.
Yeah, you guys need to read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run.
Yeah.
It's too good.
It is good. So if you guys have any ideas on who this could be or who you want to see on network television, that's in the realm of possibility, you drop us an email at superheroslate@gmail.com, and we will read them off next week.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, on to something a little smaller, and by that, I mean bigger.
Yes, much bigger.
Ant-Man trailer.
Yeah, that's a... when
the
you're
first full-length trailer, man.
Yeah, this is like a week ago, and it seems like years now because there's been so much.
So I saw this, I think it was Monday, because we announced it on Sunday that it was coming out on Monday. And first thing Monday morning, this is the first thing I saw. And I'm pretty sure I sent it to you as soon as I saw it and said I laughed my ass off at that trailer. And it's not because it's a funny trailer.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have we're starting to see more how this movie's going to shape up. We're bringing in more of the humor, which is starting to seem more apparent. You have a pretty hysterical kind of scenario setting up here with just a guy that's basically controlling bugs, getting small, and even the action, which I think will end up being really cool, is kind of silly. You got something really, really small, like punching people in the face, and they're flying all over the place. But as for the trailer as a whole, I like the stuff that I saw, but it seemed pretty straightforward with the kind of the little audio clips that they were placing in there, building the little story a bit. It was on the nose. It's like, it's a suit. You have to learn how to use it.
Honestly, I got a lot of Iron Man 1 vibe out of this trailer, and that's not a bad thing, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, what are you good at? I'm good at stealing stuff and breaking into places, but I don't want to do that anymore. Well, I need you to break into places and steal stuff.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Yeah, it had some pretty humorous moments, that's for sure. I think this trailer kind of has to do two things more than most of these trailers that we're going to be talking about today, is that it's not necessarily there to hype, even though it is there to hype, but it's also kind of to educate. I think they kind of need to get the audience a little educated before they walk into the screen, so they kind of know what's going on. Most people out there, that target market that they're always trying to hit, which is the Midwest, which is the people that don't keep up with this stuff and just want to go have a good time at the movie theater, they have no idea what an Ant-Man is.
No, but they have an idea who a Paul Rudd is.
Yeah,
and that's what matters. What was really cool about this trailer, and I'm just going to get to the brass tacks. You should watch this trailer, links in our comments there, or notes. But at the end, we see the villain. The villain is this guy named Yellow Jacket, who's like a very sleek Ant-Man suit. We've talked about this. But at the end, he's getting run over. He's really small, and a toy train's going to run him over.
Yeah.
And then it zooms out, and you see like what someone normally, like normal size, would be seeing is a train just falling off the ledge.
Yeah,
and it's so unexpected, but like totally within the realm of like, this is kind of ridiculous. Yes, we know, so we're gonna have some fun with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still getting this kind of weird vibe. You know, we talked earlier about how Ant-Man's gonna have kind of a weird showing. You know, it's going to be coming off the heels of Age of Ultron, and it's going to have to be a totally different experience. You know, they're not going to get the same action-packed, thrill-seeking, multiple heroes on the screen when they go to Ant-Man. And you almost kind of saw it happen this week. You know, Ant-Man came out earlier in the week, Monday, and now it's almost been totally overshadowed by these other trailers that we gotten in the week. You know, we got, another Batman trailer. We got some Fantastic Four. We got other news on top of that. You know, I think right now Ant-Man's just having a hard time standing out. You know, I'm just hoping when it comes around for the theater to start playing it that, you know, we all have a good time.
See, that I'm not actually worried about that. This is the first Ant-Man trailer. The reception was kind of up in the air. It was like, what are we getting here? Like, this is a very serious tone trailer. Like, this isn't Marvel. And this time, you know, people who aren't familiar, who don't follow stuff, were actually like, this looks funny, this looks good. There's action, there's comedy, there's people I know. I kind of want to see Ant-Man. And that's kind of what this trailer, again, like you said, needed to do. It needed to get people who aren't in the know excited. And I think this is the first full-length trailer will get them going to it. So I think this one did a good job. And I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely happy with it as well. It's just kind of one of those new things. They're kicking off like a brand new character. Like, we haven't had a new character in a while, have we?
No, I think the last one was Guardians of the Galaxy. Actually, if you really want to get that far, that was like a year ago, less than a year ago.
Well, just that feels like 4 years ago. The time moves so strangely in this Marvel universe that we live in now.
It does. But I mean, honestly, this is the first July movie since Captain America 1 for Marvel.
Yeah.
Which is a little different. It's a little soon. But I think I don't know if the end of Ultron. I'm staying out of like the news. I don't want to know what the end of Age of Ultron is. I don't want to know if there's a post-credit scene or not. Don't tell me. I will murder you. But I think Marvel is going to keep rolling with this. Once Age of Ultron's out and over, we're going to see a lot more Ant-Man stuff, and we're going to see them pulling out their big guns for this. Kind of like they have with Guardians.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm going to do, I guess, fortunately too, after we get one more Ant-Man trailer, I think I'll probably stop watching them after that. You know, I don't want to get too spoiled, even with a movie that I'm not too sure about yet.
Yeah. So Ant-Man trailer, check it out in our show notes.
Yeah.
Last big Marvel thing for today actually is talking about Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel, we thought was gonna be in Age of Ultron. It was in the early versions of the script, but the movie's coming out sooner than later, right? They got writers for the movie. And Nicole Perlman is one of them, who actually was a writer of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And Meg LeFauve, something. I'm not sure who she is, but they got these two wonderful. I mean, at least one wonderful writer. Marvel hires great writers. We've seen this. Their last misstep, honestly, was Iron Man 2. To me, and so I think they're getting these great writers. They're starting early. They're not waiting till the last minute to pull out a script, to get it done. But I've heard Angelina Jolie as a director. This is a rumor.
Yeah, I would say that rumor is pretty light. I heard a little bit about that, months back, but nothing's really been official for this director yet. Yeah. But I think a woman director would be a great way to go.
Yeah, I think so too, but I don't think they need to. If Joss Whedon want to step in and do it, I would totally let him do it as well.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe DC is going to try to nab him for Wonder Woman. I don't know. They kicked him off the project. Maybe they want to bring him back.
Well, that's funny. We'll talk about Wonder Woman later. We have some updates on that one.
Oh yeah, but as a little side note here for the LeFauve, whatever we're pronouncing that last name, she looks like she has credits for the upcoming Pixar movie Inside Out as screenplay credit. So I mean, if Pixar is trusting her, I think Marvel can trust her.
Yeah, and honestly, these are early drafts. Nicole Perlman wrote Guardians of the Galaxy, then James Gunn went back and touched it up. So like they're not going to write the final draft, but that's good that they're starting. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel to me always.
Yeah.
So we're gonna jump into the next biggest thing this week. This probably had more people crying and fangirling like anything else.
Yeah, honestly, I think out of all the news last week, this is the creme de la creme for sure.
I'm pretty sure you about peed your pants while everything was going on. Yeah. So Star Wars Celebration this week.
Star Wars.
Celebrate good times. Come on. All right. We talked. I'm gonna skip over some notes here. I'm gonna breeze through this. Kylo Ren is the bad guy in this, right? Mm-hmm. He wears a mask, has a lightsaber with a crossguard. Awesome. Some promo art came out. That was the first bit of news we had for the week. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump down a little bit. As soon as that came out, what landed on Tuesday at 1:00?
We got a new trailer.
We got a Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer. Yeah. So this was I watched the I think you watched it too with me. We watched it live. Mm-hmm. J.J. Abrams brought some of the cast out, including BB-8, who they actually is a robot in real life, not CG.
Yeah, everyone's new favorite droid. R2-D2 is shaking in his little mechanical stirrups right now because everyone has a new favorite.
R2-D2 was so mad. His language was so vulgar they had to beep out every word.
Oh God, that joke again.
That's right. I'm bringing it back. But this trailer. Let's talk about this trailer.
Ooh, Mike, man.
Lay it on me. What you thought, something you saw. Give us, watch this trailer or notes and come to us. You tell me, Mike.
Talk about a teaser trailer. This is everything that anyone would want to see in a Star Wars teaser trailer. We're basically just getting these glamour shots of how beautiful and awesome this movie is going to be. We're getting little insights to these characters. Just off the top of my head, in no particular order, we have this chrome-clad stormtrooper with some sort of special draping and a big old blaster going on, which we believe possibly is being played by the tall woman in Game of Thrones,
Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah, that's right.
Brienne of Tar. If you're into the show.
Yeah, that's what it was on the tip of my tongue. So we believe that's her under the suit. It's just so. I loved every single second of the trailer. It's so great. We have a voiceover from Mark Hamill, which he sounds very young. I don't know if that's just his voice talent making himself sound younger.
Funny story. Those are actually some of the first lines of Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
So I think those might have been taken from Return of the Jedi.
Oh man, I didn't even pick up on it at first. I didn't even know it was him. But everything in this trailer is just beautiful. We have some great just establishing shots of the stuff that we're going to be seeing. But I mean, I'm not going to bury the lead any further. At the very end of the trailer, we get our first look at Han and Chewie, and it's just a glorious moment.
Those have to have been the most appropriate words to finish the trailer. When Han says, "Chewie, we're home."
Oh my gosh!
And they are definitely home.
I mean, there was just no words. It's just really cool to finally see the connection with these older movies. This is the first glimpse that we see at the older cast in these films, and it just makes you feel so good. That's the best way I can put it. It just made me so happy.
Yeah, there's again no words to describe this. I think I tried to use some the other day. Bliss would be a good word to describe this. But honestly, there's so much unknown in this movie, and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that don't know what's going on going into this movie. There's a new planet that we thought was Tatooine when the first teaser came out, but now it's called Jakku. And in there you see a crashed X-wing and a crashed Star Destroyer.
Yeah, giant Star Destroyer in the background.
Yeah, so you see some of these older relics of the Empire and Rebellion, but then we see some new ones. There's the new Star Destroyer design, the new Stormtroopers, apparently being led by something called the First Order. They're no longer the Empire, it's the First Order. And the Rebellion is now called the Resistance. So I'm not sure how those get twisted around, but we're gonna find out. Don't you worry. But honestly, that was a Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, I mean,
a teaser like nothing else.
Yeah, I almost found it pretty humorous. You know, I do my best not to look at YouTube comments, but, you know, I just wanted to go through and just kind of see what some people were saying. And I like seeing these people that were just like, yeah, it looks pretty promising. And I'm just like, yeah, look at you trying to act like you're not super excited like the rest of us. Like, no one is going to look at this trailer and say it looks promising. Everyone that watches this trailer is going to be super hype. Everyone's so excited for this movie. This is an amazing teaser trailer. I mean, I almost don't want I don't need to see anything after this. I mean, I will watch these other trailers because I'm begging for more, but I mean, this is enough. I mean, this is enough to quelch any of the disdain that some people might have for more movies. I mean, it looks beautiful.
You know who's really excited for this movie?
Who?
Matthew McConaughey.
Why?
Because of that video they made where it's him and Interstellar
yeah.
reacting to the Star Wars trailer, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Maybe we'll see McConaughey in one of these movies.
Oh man, if he wanted to audition for it, that was it right there. But the new trailer's there. It's awesome. Star Wars Celebration didn't only give us a new teaser trailer, they gave us another trailer. Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too familiar with this game, but I watched the trailer and it looked cool. I didn't really know what was going on. It kind of looked like some gameplay.
It is gameplay footage. The Battlefront, a lot of gamers will remember it as you play stormtroopers. Like, there's different stormtrooper classes, and you run and try to capture points or kill the other people who were like rebellion or whatever. Then you could play as, like, in the second one, then you got like Jedis and Sith and like other powerful characters like Boba Fett. But this one is made by DICE, who makes Battlefield. And I sat down and watched it with one of my friends. He's a gamer, but didn't know anything about it. He's like, oh yeah, I remember Battlefield. That was a great game back in the day. I'm like, well, they're making a new one. He's like, what? And we watched it, and gameplay footage blown away. These big 40-player battles. You have AT-STs, AT-ATs on Endor. We're gonna there's Boba Fett on Jakku, I believe. Darth Vader on Endor. Like, there's so much going on. Battlefront fans should watch this trailer and get excited. For those who don't, you may want to start upgrading your game consoles to the new system, because you're gonna want to play this.
Yeah, it looked pretty sweet. I didn't really understand what was going on, but it looked cool.
Yeah. So yeah, and long story short, for people who don't know, you just play. You can play battles from the movies. So like the Battle of Endor. So like you will take either the Rebellion, then you'll start off as like either like a different class, like a gunner or demolitions or so on and so forth. And the more points you do, more people you kill, the more you get, and then you can come in as like a boss leader, like maybe like Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader or so. So
you're saying if maybe you're an old school Star Wars hater of the Ewok, you could possibly play this game and kill some Ewoks?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a selling point for some people.
There you go. Shoot you some Ewoks. Or like like Cabela's big Ewok hunter. Like, can't wait for that game to come out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So mod that for my Wii. And lastly, today, actually, Star Wars Rogue One, the movie after The Force Awakens. Details on that came out. I don't know if you read this or not.
No, this is brand new to me. Lay it down.
Okay, so these other movies that aren't part of episode 7, 8, or 9 are called anthology films now.
Okay,
Rogue One. The plot line is a rogue band of resistance fighters unite for a mission to steal the Death Star plans and bring a new hope to the galaxy. This takes place between episodes 3 and 4, closer to 4. And there's no Jedi in the movie.
Okay, my first question would be, if this takes place between 3 and 4, this is not really going to have any impact on the new films then. That's what it sounded like.
Correct. Now, these are more standalone films.
Okay. Now, when you say episode 3 and 4, we're talking like actual like 3 and 4, not like the old episode numbers. So this isn't going to be just before episode 7. This will be in between the new trilogy and the old trilogy.
The first trilogy and the second trilogy, yes.
Oh yeah, I guess we got to start using that nomenclature.
So this
now.
is after Revenge of the Sith, but before A New Hope.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's huge news. I think we all assumed that these were going to be taking place in the new time.
Yeah, with new actors, and the 20 some odd years between 3 and 4 have relatively been untouched. The Star Wars Rebels TV show is kind of touching it. It's closer to episode 3, but the teaser for this came out today, and it's nothing new. It was just Alex Guinness' voice used for the teaser. But there's no Jedi in the movie, which I thought was funny as well. Like, because Order 66 has gone out. Jedi, like, what happens when the Jedi aren't there to protect the galaxy? Well, these Resistance fighters need to do it themselves.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a cool idea. I have a feeling since they're obviously setting up, a Star Wars franchise again, they're gonna want to build this story, this world, or rebuild it, I suppose. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the strings or the threads that are being pulled in this anthology film maybe show up in episode 8.
Yeah, totally. I think Disney is smart enough to do that, and Star Wars has enough talent to be able to pull that off as well.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if all of these anthology films will be in the past.
Yeah, that's a good question. We don't know anything about the other two. However, what the first thing that went through my mind is the new trailer. We learned that Poe Dameron is the best pilot in the galaxy, right? And if he's not related to any of the main characters, maybe he has some of his seeds, like his ancestors, set in this era. So I could see like strings going along, but I don't know about the other ones. You're right. They could definitely be like, I don't think they're sequels to this, but they could take place anywhere, anytime, maybe between episodes 6 and 7, or 4 and 5, if so be it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with this. This sounds really cool. Talking about finally Disney is in charge of this whole franchise now. So now we can just do these things that we never thought would happen. Not only did we think we would never get new Star Wars films, but whoever thought that we would get a film that didn't even have any like lightsabers in it, had no Jedi in it. That's super cool that we can do that now.
Yeah, and definitely trust in the quality of the film as well. With and it's not Rian Johnson, it's Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards, who did Godzilla, is working on this one. So definitely Disney's putting the big names out there for these.
Man, talk about a Star Wars week. This is crazy.
It was. That's a good reason to celebrate, guys. So Star Wars, all these links to these trailers and information's in the show notes. Check it out. Do you have anything you want to add on Star Wars, Mike? I know you're big on it.
Oh, man. I just got, when I think about it, I start to get a raging hard on.
Yes. So keep that away from the microphone. And we'll move on to something else that may not help that.
Okay.
Apocalypse has more casting.
Yeah.
Olivia Munn has been cast as Psylocke in this movie.
Yeah, when I got this news, I put out some feelers to my boys out there who are familiar with Olivia Munn from back in the day. Most of the community out there who are into comic books are gonna know her from Attack of the Show when G4 was still around. She's moved on to other things since then. She's been in the Newsroom, which she kind of played a quirky character on the Newsroom, and she was pretty good on that. I believe she was part of a failed pilot or sitcom that didn't get ordered a couple years ago. Basically, what I got back from other people is that we're not too sure. This is like the first role I think Munn will have in definitely a franchise. So who knows how this is going to go.
Well, yeah. What's funny is she was definitely in Iron Man 2 somewhere. And when I watched this a couple weeks ago, I noted it on my tweets, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I do believe she was just a reporter with a microphone on a red carpet somewhere, if I remember right.
Yeah, definitely so. Her name was Chess Roberts. And okay, great. But definitely, like, there's nothing on her movie list that makes me think, this is a great actress to hire. So I just don't know what to think. because the only thing I can remember from is those leaked texts from like her boyfriend at the time, who was Chris Pine, and I don't know if we need that all over X-Men.
So when Olivia Munn makes it onto your news blotter, it's from leaked photos, is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it. I always get her and the girl from Tron 2 mixed up.
Oh, Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, because they kind of got similar look and they got the similar name. But Olivia Wilde definitely has talent, and
yeah,
I can't say that for Olivia Munn.
Yeah, I mean, just from my own experiences, she hasn't been in a whole lot. I believe she was in Magic Mike.
Yes.
I remember, if I remember correctly. I think The Newsroom is probably her biggest acting credit out there right now. 3 seasons, she was in every episode, I believe. She played more of a quirky character, though. It definitely was not serious. It definitely wasn't someone that had killing inside of them, a ruthless part of them. She was definitely more humorous character in that. We'll just kind of have to see, if Bryan Singer can bring out that part of her. I'll do my best to reserve judgment right now, but I think what we're looking at with this Apocalypse movie is this is going to be another movie that's going to be chock full of mutants that, if she has screen time, I don't think it's going to be that much.
Yeah, and that's such a role, like, Psylocke was actually in X3 and, like, kind of like a background, like, scene or something like that. And this is a second chance to bring her back to life, and hopefully, casting Olivia Munn is a bigger name, so, like, she'll have a chance to, like, live beyond this movie. But I just, it's an interesting choice because they keep adding more mutants. And, yeah, on top of that, Bryan Singer confirmed Havoc is returning as well. So we'll have Alex Summers and Scott Summers in the same movie for once. So Apocalypse all over the place. What do you think? Are you excited for Apocalypse?
I think I can be excited because Days of Future Past was so good. Like I've said before, every single time we talk about Apocalypse, I'm just so curious how they're going to fit this into their universe that they've created. But I think we can trust Bryan Singer now. We weren't sure how he would do leaving the franchise and then coming back, but he came back and he kicked ass, so I'm ready. Yeah,
totally. What's interesting is how this is going to interact with Deadpool and Gambit movies and possibly the Fantastic Four universe, since they're supposed to share all under the Fox umbrella. Speaking of, Deadpool is our next topic, if you're ready to go into that one.
Yeah.
So we're kind of moving through things quick today, but that's because we have so much to cover. Deadpool, Colossus definitely is confirmed. We talked about it last week. We were kind of on the fence of whether that CGI character was Colossus. The writer, Rhett Reese, confirmed that is Colossus. And he's going to be bigger than we even saw on the set. Bigger than the guy who's like a foot over Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, man. Colossus is so cool. I always love it when he pops up in any iteration of Marvel, whether it's like a TV show, a cartoon, or a comic book. He's just always so cool. He's just so stoic. He doesn't say too much. He just kind of kicks ass. So I'm excited to see Colossus.
Oh, definitely. Especially like that kind of stoic, silent person interacting with Deadpool who won't shut up and is definitely anything but stoic. So that interaction's probably going to be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, hopefully they're writing some good jokes about, a man that's like shiny and metal. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but hopefully we'll get a shiny metal joke. Yeah. Maybe akin to like a toaster.
Yeah, honestly, it might. Colossus, I think, was in the Deadpool video game that I had for 360, and like they had some pretty funny jokes for him. So I think he'll be a running gag.
Oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. Is Colossus set up to be in not Days of Future Past, but Apocalypse at all?
Not that I've heard of. Okay. Definitely Daniel Cudmore's not coming back. If he was going to come back, it was going to be in Deadpool, so I've not heard anything about Colossus yet.
Okay.
So that's okay. We have enough. Like, keep the mutant number low. Like, whatever. All right. Today, the next big trailer came out.
Yeah, and just weird to begin with, a trailer on a Sunday.
Yes, definitely the weirdest release yet. Fantastic Four got trailer number 2.
Yeah, and I would say this might be trailer number 2, but this is kind of the trailer that we've really been waiting for. You know, trailer 1 was just, you know, it gave us a little bit, but we didn't really even see any, like, superpowers in it. You know, we just kind of got to see the actors, you know, just in their element, but this trailer finally brings us the powers.
It definitely does. What this trailer does is also give us Doctor Doom, the villain of the movie, and also another the first bit of dialogue by Tim Blake Nelson, who plays a character who eventually becomes the Mole Man. So this is giving us a little bit more. Like, tell us what's going on. Reed Richards is saving this organization by creating interdimensional travel, which is very similar to the Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Yes, it is.
And we actually get to see the character Doom, or Victor Domashev, I guess, is what his character is being called, that were supposedly in the movie. Before he becomes Doom, I didn't even realize it was him. It's the guy with the goatee sitting beside Johnny Storm.
Oh, okay.
He's talking for a lot of it. And he goes in with them into the portal, and that's when they start showing their powers. One of the there's 2 cool shots in this trailer I want to talk about. One is Johnny Storm catching on fire. Like it's like a cowboy shot, like from the waist up, and he just bursts into flames. That was pretty awesome. And dropping Ben Grimm out of an airplane into a base.
Yeah, it gave me a Captain America feel for sure, because they've been doing that for Captain America for like 2 or 3 films now, dropping them out of planes without parachutes.
Exactly, but for this one, when he lands, everybody knows. Because like everything exploded. Like, that's just awesome that they're utilizing the Thing for what he is, like a brute force tank.
Yeah, but I mean, this was another trailer that kind of did something similar to what Ant-Man did. A lot of just on-the-nose dialogue. You know, there's Johnny Storm saying, we should use these powers to help people. You know, like, some of it's on the nose, and that's probably, you know, what a trailer should be doing, you know, setting up what this movie's going to be about. But I'm just hoping that the whole movie's not like that.
I tell you, I watched this also with some people who aren't, like, into comic books. They don't follow this stuff. And they were like, that looks way better than the first movies.
Yeah, well, oh, yeah. I mean,
so
that's a totally different discussion, yeah.
They're doing something right by telling, like, these people who aren't into this stuff all the time, saying, like, yeah, all right, that looks okay. Like, I would watch that.
I think one of the more interesting parts is when we finally got to see a little bit of stretching there from Mr. Fantastic.
Yes, I mean, I hope he uses his brain more than he uses his power, because that's the beauty of Reed Richards. Is he's kind of a beautiful mind kind of character, and we want to see that. And I hate Miles Teller, like his face, just something about it just makes me want to punch it. I watched Divergent and Insurgent, and he's in those movies, and I'm like, I hate this character with a passion. I don't like. I want to watch Whiplash, but I don't because he's in it. But honestly, that was pretty cool to see his arm kind of like bend and contort.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird too, just because this movie is definitely being set up as something pretty dark. I mean, there was a little humor in the trailer that, you know, was kind of funny, but it definitely felt out of place. But also, his superpower of stretching his limbs is just it's wacky. I mean, you know, you can make it look cool on a comic book page, but I'm just wondering if that's going to feel out of place or not. You know, that's the wackiest of the powers. You know, it's not hard to make the Thing look awesome. He's like a giant boulder that, you know, is destroying things, and you got a living flame, and you basically got a girl that turns invisible and has force fields. You know, and then you got this doctor with wiggly little spaghetti arms. So I hope they can make that look cool.
Yeah, hopefully they don't just use it for gimmicks like they did in the first 2 movies, like sliding under a door to unlock the handle, because that's what I would do. So yeah, I like this trailer. Honestly, I'm glad we got to see Doom and his looks like techno face. It looks like something fused to his face, and it looks like circuitry. I don't know how that's gonna play out. I'm excited to see this movie. Let's see Fantastic Four. I'm putting it on the official hype list.
Yeah,
as of right now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Well, I think before we jump into our next big trailer of the week, I think we should go through our you know, we got some other like little news updates out here, and I think we need to get those out of the way because I'm really excited to talk about this Batman Superman trailer that's coming up.
All right, so we'll jump a little bit. So we're gonna go down and talk about Wonder Woman. right? Is that what you're talking about? We're talking about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I want to get not necessarily this fluff out of the way, but let's give these people what they came for. Let's give them their little updates, and let's just launch into this other awesome trailer of the week before we get into also our other awesome segment at the end, which is our Daredevil spoilers.
Good. Okay, so Wonder Woman, we talked about this earlier. It actually lost her director. Michelle McLaren quit, citing creative differences, whatever the fuck that means now.
Yeah,
that's just like PR filler. They actually replaced her with Patty Jenkins within like 48 hours. Patty Jenkins was originally the Thor 2 director before Alan Taylor signed on. She left that due to creative differences, but it was well before pre-production. So that's kind of funny that she went from one comic book movie to another.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, what is possibly going on. Hopefully one day we'll get like an official answer. But, I think it's cool to have women directors directing these powerful women. I don't think it's like pandering, or just trying to give, the people what they want. Like, let's make sure they're women directors so no one yells at us. I think it's cool. I think it's an awesome matchup. Why not have like these awesome women tycoons of Hollywood directing these awesome superheroes that are also women?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Fun fact for you, The Punisher Warzone was directed by a woman as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so if for superhero films, if you wanted to know, Warzone was directed by a female director.
Yeah, women can get just as gritty when it comes to the director's chair. I don't know if you remember a little film called The Hurt Locker, but that was intense as hell, and that was from the mind of a woman. So it shouldn't matter.
Well, that was from the mind of a woman who was married to James Cameron. So I understand that completely.
Yeah. So it shouldn't really obviously it shouldn't matter what gender the director is, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. So that's that note. We're gonna jump on the Suicide Squad yet again because social media tells us we need to talk about this. Jared Leto has put a picture of himself on this thing called Snapchat.
This thing.
This thing called Snapchat. I'm not a Snapchat person. I tried it, didn't really do anything for me. But another picture of himself as the Joker, which everyone is the only thing anyone wants to see out of Suicide Squad. I feel. Is the Joker, and he's got bright green hair and a very pasty face, and he looks like a Joker, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it just that makes me excited because it just sounds like he's getting really excited about this role. So, I'm all on board.
Yeah, definitely. Suicide Squad will be something to watch. So we're gonna move on to Terminator Genisys, the second trailer.
Oh, and why on earth would we just gloss over this? I wonder why.
First off, this is on Mike's don't want to watch list.
Yeah.
However, this trailer threw us for a curveball.
Making,
if you haven't watched it, watch it. John Connor is a half Terminator, half human hybrid, different than the last Terminator movie. But it definitely, I didn't expect John Connor to be the bad guy of the movie.
Yeah, and I saw definitely some people with some outcry online, saying that they're basically spoiling the film with the trailer, which is actually kind of funny because I do believe T2, the Terminator, the original trailer, did spoil that Arnold was the good guy in that film in the trailer. So I don't know if they are totally aware that they're spoiling the film, or maybe this is just a fact you'll learn on early in the film. But all I know is I don't care because this movie looks dumb. It looks discombobulated. I think it might be just a fun action thrill ride maybe, but I'm not going to the theater to see this. I'll wait till it comes to Netflix. The Terminator franchise is all fucked up right now, so I'm not excited for this. And I think it might make money. These summer blockbusters usually don't have a hard time making money, and Arnold's in it. They showed Arnold fighting a CG younger version of himself, which looked kind of weird to begin with. But everyone knows I'm not excited about this, so I don't really need to go on and on about how much I didn't like the trailer.
That's true. He does not like the trailer, as you can tell. I'm going to see it. So this is going to be one of my movies where I get to go to the theater and turn off the thinking critical mode and just watch everything in a big screen explode, because those are the movies where people aren't going to talk the whole way through. They're going to be watching and waiting for Arnold to kick his own ass. So this is going to be when I go to the theater and turn everything off and watch it.
Yeah, well, I hope it goes well for you.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a lot. So we're going to jump on to the next thing. Preacher. Are you familiar with Preacher?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit on the show, haven't we?
Yeah, we one of the first episodes is Preacher. It's a comic book series about a preacher. It's hard to even say kind of what it is. I've not read it. Is my problem. But they've cast the main lead as Dominic Cooper, who was young Howard Stark from Captain America and Agent Carter. So Preacher is a DC. It's from Vertigo, which is an imprint of DC Comics, and it was written by Garth Ennis, and it's had 75 issues. It ran from in the 90s, so the last issue was in October of 2000. So it tells the story of this guy named Jesse Custer, a preacher in a small Texas town of Annville, ironically Annville. And he was accidentally possessed by the supernatural creature named Genisys in an accident which killed his entire congregation and flattened his church. So apparently, he goes across the country attempting to find God, who abandoned heaven the moment this person, this demon was born that possessed him, and he starts to discover he has these powers. So I don't know. Seth Rogen's making a TV show out of it. Dominic Cooper has been rumored to be the main guy for a very, very long time. They finally announced it. That's cool. We'll watch it. This will probably be one of those things like Powers, where I binge it later, and it'll probably be pretty awesome. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think Dominic Cooper is charismatic as hell, so I look forward to seeing him in things, so that's cool.
Yeah, and Seth Rogen, despite his goofiness on screen, he's not going to be in it, but I think he has enough, wants to be true to the material that he'll do the best job he can with it.
Yeah, I think we all know Rogen is a nerd at heart, so I think he'll definitely pay respect to the material.
Yeah, so there. Last bit of news here is Attack on Titan got another live action trailer.
Yeah, which is I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this. I kind of want to look up some statistics when it comes to live action Japanese films. I'd like to see what the budget is on this film. Because when you take a look at this trailer, you finally get to see a little bit of a broader look at these Titans that are in the trailer. And they're looking all right. I mean, it looks like a film that's not being made by Hollywood. It just kind of has this weird kind of feeling to it. I'm going to see it out of pure curiosity. But I don't think it's going to be landing in any theaters in the States, though, anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, honestly, this is something, that I surprised you with one day. And you're like, oh, you've watched Attack on Titan? I'm like, yeah. And you're like, oh, great, we've watched it. And it's a great show. And they're doing this live action, but I don't know how I feel about it. It feels half-assed. Yeah, or maybe rushed due to instant popularity of the show.
Yeah, it just feels very strange. I don't know if this is a deal where, some trailers, when they come out early, the CG's not fully done and they're just trying to get the trailer out to bring up the hype. But this movie comes out later this year, so I would assume that stuff's nearly done. It does seem kind of low budget. I don't know if technically this is a higher budget for a Japanese studio doing live action. We haven't really got a good look at the Titans' faces except for that colossal Titan. But yeah, the normal Titans have kind of really weird faces. They have those giant mouths that are just really
constantly smiling.
Yeah, really bizarre. So we haven't seen that yet. I think that's going to give us a better feel for how it's going to look, honestly, overall. We had no idea what the characters were saying because it's all in Japanese. I would love an English dub one day, but I have a feeling we're not going to get that for a while. But it's weird. I don't know.
I just hope they don't make this in English, American studios, and it stays in Japanese studios. But if you're interested in what the live action would look like, watch this trailer.
Yeah, or just go watch Pacific Rim. That's already a really good movie about giant things fighting each other. I love that movie.
It's true. So, all right. So now we're going to jump into our last two things here.
Yeah.
First up, the thing that we weren't supposed to get this week.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, this teaser trailer was leaked. I believe it looked like some sort of South American country, maybe. I'm not sure if we got the origin on where the trailer leaked from, but Warner Brothers just kind of had to step up to the plate and be like, all right, I guess they're getting this trailer on Friday and not Monday.
Yeah, so first things first, the actual credits for the movie were released this week in anticipation of the trailer coming out next Tuesday. As in, like, you know, the whatever today is plus 2 days, the 21st. So, which was funny because everyone was like, why does Ben Affleck get the top billing of a Superman sequel? So that was funny. So then they announced the IMAX trailer will be on Monday. So you get to go to IMAX and watch a 15-minute trailer to pay money for, like, that's kind of stupid, right? And they released a teaser for this trailer. Great. So then, what was it? I think Wednesday night? I believe it was Wednesday night, Thursday night. They released, no, it was Wednesday night. Someone leaked this trailer with Hispanic subtitles. And it was off a camera. Like, where are they showing this movie trailer at in other countries early for? Like, where is this at? Why were we not there at this country?
Yeah, I mean, I avoided this cam because, you know, I was like, well, I know this is coming in a couple days and I want to see it in HD. But then Warner Brothers ponied up the next day, so we finally got to see it.
Yeah, it took over 24 hours, which is hilarious because when Marvel's Age of Ultron trailer leaked, like 2 hours later, they're like, all right, fuck it, everyone can watch it. But, like, this actually came from Zack Snyder's Twitter to begin with. He actually pushed it, the official trailer of Batman vs. Superman in HD, and you can watch it right now. What did you think, Mike?
Well, this is definitely a teaser trailer. I mean, we talked about Star Wars having a teaser trailer. This has even less in it, content-wise. You brought up when you talked to me earlier about the trailer off mic, where you were saying that the first 17 seconds of the trailer is just voiceover. You don't even see anything yet. And,
pure black screen.
Yeah, you know, we get a lot of narration that's setting up how this movie is going to go, you know, saying, can we trust Superman? He's powerful, but why is he here? Is he a false god? Is he real? Should he even be here? What's going on? People seem concerned, and then it kind of rolls into that false god graffiti on the Superman statue. So we're setting up, you know, some of these ramifications of the destruction that Superman did to Metropolis in his movie. You know, he destroyed the city that he was trying to protect, trying to beat up Zod. So I think that's kind of cool. That was a big criticism that a lot of people had in that Superman Returns movie, and they're owning up to it here in this trailer. But as for the stuff that's in it, we got some cool shots of Batman, some cool homages being paid to the Dark Knight Returns with Batman up on the skyscraper with that sniper rifle. I mean, that's really cool, seeing Batman with a gun. He gets serious when he's fighting Superman, that's for sure. But overall, I was saying earlier with Attack on Titan and the CG in this trailer is pretty weak. I mean, we still got another year for this movie, but the rolling in shot of that Superman statue seemed pretty weak. It seemed like a video game cutscene to me.
You bring up some really good points here. To me, this trailer was underwhelming. For all the hype, for all the effort that went into leak this trailer, it was very underwhelming teaser. You know, like I said, the first 17 seconds are completely black. As voiceover leading up to that statue. I'm pretty sure there's only one shot at daytime of this entire trailer, and that's with Superman standing in the sunlight, right? Everything else is like nighttime. It's like pitch black, which is kind of like, it's almost depressing to see that much lack of like light and like color. I mean, I get it's dark and gritty and whatever, but like, you can give us a little more. But we get to see our first shot of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, and that man is Bruce Wayne. Yeah,
he pulls it off well.
He does.
So that can get you excited about this movie. You know, last week I was talking about how this is still a big deal. Batman and Superman in one movie is still a big deal. And yeah, I do agree that this trailer was a bit underwhelming. But it was kind of cool to finally see this stuff kind of officially polished up. You know, you showed me last year, luckily, because you somehow always find a way to get this leaked footage. The little scene that you see with Batman in his iron suit looking at Superman with his glowing eyes. We kind of got that at the little Comic-Con panel last year, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's kind of like part of the underwhelming aspect is, you know, it still didn't look any better than the footage we saw off a camera last July at San Diego Comic-Con. And we have already seen it. Like most companies that take their footage to these, like, you know, Comic-Cons don't show that anywhere else. And, you know, they ended the trailer on a note that we've already seen, and it was kind of tends to leave that underwhelming side for me, or for the people who look into the trailer. What I want to ask you about is Batman's voice. It sounded kind of metallic.
Yeah, a bit of a voice modulator. I think the biggest criticism of the successful Batman movies before this was Christian Bale's Batman voice, which has been parodied to hell and back because it's so weird. But I'm actually kind of used to the voice modulator idea just because that's kind of what they're using in Arrow right now. He uses a voice modulator, so I'm used to the idea of a hero masking his voice with technology, and it totally makes sense in Batman's way because he uses technology for everything. But at the same time, I think we're at a point where you can kind of suspend disbelief that a hero doesn't necessarily have to mask their voice to mask their identity. Like we saw in Daredevil, when he's in the costume, he doesn't change his voice at all, and no one's picking up that this might be Matt Murdock. So, I guess you can kind of go either way, but in my opinion, I just wouldn't even change their voices. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think Ben Affleck could do a great Batman / Bruce Wayne voice by himself. And honestly, take the modulation away, and it sounds great, I think. So that was awesome. There are good things in this. Like you said, like the Lego Batman suit, I'm glad to see it's getting some screen time. I kid. But there's a couple Easter eggs in there. I want to point one out for this show, since we're going to just talk on this briefly. Is that there's a Riddler question mark on one of the columns about 2/3 of the way through the trailer. And that's a fun throwback to the Riddler that I never expected to see again. So that's in there. And Jesse Eisenberg had a voiceover part.
Yeah, he kind of finally set up his character a little bit.
He didn't sound like a Lex Luthor. That was my concern. It sounded more like a Social Network kind of thing. What did you think?
I mean, overall, just with this trailer in general, everybody knows that this movie has so much riding on it. This is going to make or break the next 10 years at Warner Brothers. I think it will be successful enough to get more movies under its belt. But, is it gonna finally put an end to the bickering between Marvel and DC? I saw some really dumb YouTube comments where someone said DC films are more for the intellectuals and Marvel films are more for the people that just want to have stupid fun, which I thought was just really dumb, and that's what you find in YouTube comics. But that I'm sure that's not the only guy that thinks that. I'm totally fine with these movies being really dark to kind of contradict what we're getting from Marvel, which likes to have fun but also be serious. But we're all crossing our fingers. Hopefully next year when this movie comes around, it just kicks our asses and it's just awesome, and we leave the theater going, finally, we got what we wanted out of DC, and we can be super excited for everything that's coming up.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Like anyone who knows me knows I'm not a DC person, but I do want this movie to do well. I don't want to see them wasted, because anything that hurts one comic book movie that hurts is going to affect the rest of them, no matter what studio makes it. And I honestly, a lot of people are like, oh, the DC universe is better. The DC universe has one movie so far, and honestly, that was a mediocre movie. And so I want them to do better. I want them to learn from their mistakes. I want them to grow and give us all these other characters. Even not just for me, other people who want these characters, like who want to see Cyborg and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. I can't wait for Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool.
And that's so far away. So I do want to see. I want to see good out of this. Again, this is a teaser. We are gonna start seeing more Batman, Superman, but we have it's next March when it comes out, so we're 11 months away. We can wait and take our time.
Yeah, and if you guys want to go and see a little bit more of the vibe that's going to come from this movie, we got links to 2 posters that have been released in the show notes, so go check those out. Definitely nothing official where you're getting a full body shots of these characters. Just looks more like a viral marketing poster to me.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's Batman versus Superman style posters for the marketing, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely go check out the show notes, and oh man, what a week for news. This is just crazy.
Yes, so that's all the news we have, and that's taken about a regular hour show. So if you want to stop now, pause here. We're going to talk about Daredevil, and come back after you've seen it and listen to us right now.
Oh, yeah. Let's let's get into this. I want to talk about how much I love this show and the cool stuff that's in it.
Go right ahead. You started off.
All right, so here comes the spoilers, everybody. I think the first thing I want to talk about is just I never thought that we would learn so much about the Kingpin in this series. I mean, I think that's the thing that stands out above everything else in this show is how we get to take a character that's basically just been a brute, pretty stereotypical crime boss, and we get to learn about his psyche. I mean, it's so cool to see Marvel defeating their hero and villain problem. You know, that's the biggest criticism that Marvel has had of their universe, is having weak villains. And we finally get Kingpin, who actually has personality and actually thinks about the things that he's going to do and what's driving it. And I love seeing Daredevil battle that. That was so cool.
Yeah, you're right. I think we honestly haven't had a good villain or a great villain since Loki. Mm-hmm. And because, you know, I think Wilson Fisk, who's never officially called the Kingpin in this show, we just get a king card with a pin through it, is a great villain. Like, you see him, like, he starts off putting himself out there, going from obscurity to trying to meet a woman and enter the dating world. And we all know how awkward that can be. So that was great. And to see him grow, I have one issue with Wilson Fisk. Is where did he go after he killed his father? He went to Italy. How did he become a crime boss of Hell's Kitchen from Italy and then be so secure? I want to know all that little more history of him, and I think we're going to get that in the next season. But that was I love Wilson Fisk. Nothing against him. That's not marketing against him. But that history up until the point we meet him, where he's been in the dark, not going out, being secluded. I want to know what happened there.
Well, I mean, I think that just goes to show you how great the show has developed, that we want to know more about these characters. I mean, I think he was one of the greatest parts of the show, but definitely did not overshadow the amazing fighting and action that Daredevil brought to the screen. Holy crap. I mean, this is everything that I've wanted in a Marvel TV show. It's so dark. It's so bloody. Last week you hinted at a scene that I believe you said it was in the end of episode 2. I think that everyone's talking about now is that hallway fight scene.
Yes. It's like a single take hallway fight scene. And this is something, like, you're right. Matt Murdock, the way they've got Daredevil fighting is, you know, when he hits somebody, he doesn't knock them out. He doesn't, like, kill them or, like, send them flying, right? He fights like a real man fights. Because he doesn't have that enhanced strength. So it takes a couple punches to knock these guys down, and he has to be really strategic when he's doing it. In this hallway scene, he has to take on, like, maybe, 10 guys?
Yeah, roughly I'd say close to a dozen, something around there.
Yeah, a dozen guy, and like, he's losing energy as he's fighting, right? Because if you're in, like, using your physical stamina, you're not going to have energy the whole time. And, like, that is just a beautiful scene. It is well lit. Like, I didn't expect it to be a single take until you see it. Yeah, and then when it's done, you're like, oh my god, that was like the best 10 minutes ever.
Yeah, and I think that scene just speaks about the whole show in general, about how much attention to detail is taken. You know, specifically in that scene when he's knocking guys out, you see them fall down in the background, and you expect, just like every other movie or TV show, that dude was punched in the face, so he's down for the count. No, a couple minutes later, after he's knocked out a couple more guys, that guy's back up and ready to fight again, because that's what happens. You don't die, you don't get knocked unconscious for hours with one punch to the face. So I thought that was really cool, and what a sweet moment that really shows the kindness that in Matt Murdock's heart is. You know, he's there to save that kidnapped child, and when he finally goes into that room, he's conscious enough to know he needs to remove this mask to show that he's not a scary guy. You know, I think that's so cool, and you know, that's brought up too later, why he does what he does. You know, he was tired of hearing the brutalness that happened in his city, and he seems to have this really sweet spot for kids in his heart that kind of started his superhero career, and I think that's just great. You know, he has motivation to help his city, and it's very believable why he would be going out and risking his life.
What's really, really awesome, and I'm going to bring this back to your first point, is the Kingpin and Matt Murdock want to save Hell's Kitchen.
They just have different ways of doing it. Throughout the whole thing, their stories are parallel, and that's beautiful. That is a beautiful parallel that, they're both, they have problems. They had childhood problems, right? Their dads both were killed in different manners, but, they were both killed. But, like, they want to save Hell's Kitchen, their home. Kingpin does it with drugs and trafficking and, like, sort of taking out the trash that he sees are, like, the poverty people. Whereas Matt Murdock wants to help those people and take out the thugs and people who are doing so. And along the way, they both lose, their friends and everything they have around them. But at the end, it's Matt Murdock's, his fight for good that lets him prevail. But, like, he's one mistake away from becoming the Kingpin himself if he killed somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that just speaks true to how great every character in this show is. Every character is just handled with such precision. I don't know if precision is the best word, but every character is handled with care. I mean, I thought Foggy was one of the highlights of this first season. Just seeing him just be the good guy, be the hero without the powers. It was so cool connecting with him being such a nice guy. Not the nice guy finished last type of person. He was just overall a good person. And you really rooted for him in every scenario that he was in, for sure. And I was honestly surprised when we finally got to see Foggy learn the identity of Daredevil, which I didn't think was going to happen in this first season. I didn't think, honestly, would happen for a while. I've read some of the older story arcs of Daredevil as a character, and Foggy is just in the dark most of the time. He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you're right. I thought more people would know his identity by the end. But they didn't. They saved that, and that's good. But this show is just as much about the other characters as it is about Matt Murdock and Daredevil. Because, like, anytime, like, when Foggy was there, or when Karen was off doing her own thing, or Ben Urich was there, or the Kingpin was there, or hell, even Wesley. I liked Wesley. Any of them on there, like, you were entranced. You didn't need Daredevil the whole time. Like, you need Tony Stark when you're watching an Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
You don't need them. You need the people. It's about Hell's Kitchen, and it's about the neighborhood. And that show paid off so well by giving each of them a unique personality and their flaws, and you just wanted to watch them, like I said, and learn more.
Yeah, I mean, and what a sad moment when the Kingpin ended Ben Urich's life. I mean, I was surprised that they were gonna kill his character, but sometimes the surprises are good. It brings weight into the character. And to the show that the Kingpin can end anyone's life at any time because he's a brutal beast.
Well, honestly, I think how they portrayed that was he didn't kill to kill. The people he killed were the ones who went into his personal life. Was it Antoli, or what is it? I think it was Antoli, the Russian guy who got his head bashed in the car. Was because he interrupted the date. Ben Urich died because he went to his mother. He was more of a child lashing out at those points, with no like limits on his rage, but he didn't kill to kill. So that was definitely an interesting take and made him feel more human. Compared to how he looked. He looked like a big baby. Honestly, like he was a child in a large man's body.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if they've ever touched on the Kingpin's past in detail in comic book arcs, or I don't know if the Kingpin has ever had his own single issue run, but I really enjoyed learning about his past, and I enjoyed learning about all of these characters. I mean, Matt Murdock's past was portrayed so well in this series. You really got to care for his dad. And I mean, if you even know a little bit about what happens to Superhero's parents, or anything about Daredevil's past, that his dad was going to be sleeping with the fishes at some point in time. And it was sad to see him go. He was such a kind character who wanted the best for his son. And, that was just a moment that went over really, really well. I think it just adds to Matt Murdock's character, and I think he's going to make a great leader for the Defenders.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, he has all the great qualities, you know, that Captain America has for the Avengers. And man, at the end, when he puts that kick-ass suit on, you're finally like, this is Daredevil. He is not just a vigilante by the end of the series. He is a full-fledged superhero in that last episode.
Yeah, that suit reveal, like, I tried to stay away from it as much as I could. And that was a really good representation of the suit. And I think we'll see it grow and evolve. Because, you know, it's there to take place, give him padding and protection like everyone told him he needed along the way.
Yeah, and talk about a great way to go into that. I've always been a really big sticklers for superhero costumes, you know, because they either find some really bizarre way to give them a costume, or, you know, they just happen to have it, you know, just out of nowhere. I thought this was one of the better ways a superhero's ever gotten his costume. It was set up in like 2 or 3 episodes of people telling him he needs something a little bit better, and then they set it up with the Kingpin actually having this material that Daredevil ends up using as a suit, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, it definitely, the suit had its own arc, honestly, and that was something we don't really get to see, except in, you know, like Iron Man, the suit has an arc, but Thor just has his armor. So that's cool. Something I kind of want to talk about is Stick.
Oh yeah.
The episode Stick, I thought he would be more of a longer term character than just one episode, which reminded me of how episodic some of these felt. Not all of them, but like this one, in episode 7 in particular. But it was cool to see his old guy train him. They definitely felt like they wanted David Carradine, but, you know, he's kind of dead. But he was. It was a good balance, and to see the training of Daredevil, thrown at us, and then honestly, the very last scene of that episode, Stick is talking to this guy named Stone, who is part of this team called the Chased, which is tied to the Iron Fist.
Yeah, that whole episode in general just gave us a lot of what could possibly be happening in the future of the series. Like you stated at the very end, we got this kind of mystical feeling, you know, of what the origin of this Defender series might be. You know, who knows? You know, I have a feeling since they're saving Iron Fist for the last of this series, that maybe that's where the main villain for Defenders is going to come from, is from the Iron Fist franchise or universe or arc, or however you want to say it. And then also they kind of brought up that little boy that was being chained in that shipping container that seemed to have some sort of power within him. I'm kind of curious if that little boy is supposed to be an Inhuman, or maybe that's supposed to be another mythical thing tied to you know, Iron Fist too.
Definitely. I read about this earlier on, but, you know, like, there's definitely mysticism going on here, because Matt Murdock, he had the accident in his eyes, right? But we found out the radioactive waste didn't give him his powers so much, because Stick had it, but he didn't have the same ability. He was born blind. So, like, he just learned how to use his blindness as a kind of I don't know, like, not a handicap, but use it to his advantage. And then we also got Madame Gao, and she took Daredevil out with a single thrust of her hand.
Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Yeah, and then she's on a rooftop later talking with someone I don't remember. I believe it was the accountant guy. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Owlsley?
Yeah, something like that, and she just ends up basically vaporizing. She kind of disappears when he looks back around his shoulder. So she's definitely kind of tied into that old world mythic, you know, Chinese, Japanese, Asian kind of folklore that they got going on over there. And I think that's really cool. It's really cool seeing the seeds that they're building for their series in Daredevil. You know, I think Jessica Jones has a lot of work to do to try to stand out from what we see happening in Daredevil, because, man, talk about just, you know, amazing show that we can't stop gushing over. So I'm hoping Jessica Jones can bring the heat, you know, come later this year in the fall.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. And the only reason I bring up Madame Gao and Stick and stuff and the mysticism, because I think that will be our overarching story, will be mysticism, because Jessica Jones is a superpower turned private eye, and she has no mysticism, but, you know, neither did Daredevil until, you know, we had this, and the Nobu, the hand ninja,
Yeah.
guy who caught on fire.
Yeah.
What a brutal way to go. Definitely brought I don't know, like the Asian market kind of like to Hell's Kitchen. And I think we're going to see that as an overarching story before we get to Iron Fist, and that will be the big thing there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this show. Obviously, if you're listening to the spoiler review, you either watched it too and you're gushing along with us, or maybe you're one of the weird percentage of people out there who doesn't care about the show and just wants to hear what happened. I think that's a mistake. You got to watch this show. It is amazing. I think maybe one day we could be getting an Emmy Award or an Oscar out of one of these superhero franchises, and I think Daredevil is a really good way to start. You know, I don't know if it quite reaches the level of like House of Cards when it comes to drama, but I think it would be cool to see it validated with some sort of award in the industry.
Yeah, I hope they all do. I think Marvel's taking giant strides towards bringing better content. Like, even though they're regarded as one of the best, you know, cinematic powers, like, you know, in the last year alone, Winter Soldier and Guardians upped the ante. They were way better than the previous year's offerings of Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World. And this year we're getting better S.H.I.E.L.D. We're getting Daredevil. We're getting Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. I think we're all going to see an increase in quality as well. I think Marvel's learning and evolving and growing, and we're going to see better things from it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to end the show, just gushing over Daredevil. You know, you guys got to hear what we thought, and we're definitely looking forward to Defenders because we want to see more Daredevil, and I'd love to see him maybe crop up in maybe a Luke Cage episode or you know, in the future.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what. I hate waiting to see what Marvel and Netflix are going to bring to the table. It's just going to be a long time.
Yeah, but man, talk about a show. So much happened. We definitely went over the time that we usually go over, but I think tacking Daredevil onto the end was a perfect way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I actually want to touch a little bit on something I'm doing next weekend. I'm going to Chicago for the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. And I will be going there to interview people in the comics industry and the film industry and promote Comic UI and Superhero Slate.
Oh, cool.
And I'm really excited because we actually have a table this year. First year
I've
ever had a table there at a Comic-Con. One so big that, you know, Stan Lee's here. Like, it's not like, oh, it's a bunch of nerds gathering around. Like, Stan Lee is there. I've seen episodes of Earth's Mightiest Heroes released early. I saw the first episode, I think, of not S.H.I.E.L.D., but the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show there as well. And I met Chris Hemsworth 5 years ago, before Thor had even come out.
Oh, his beautiful hair.
He's so tall in real life. And I'm really excited for it. And I think next week when I come back, like, I don't know how busy this week's gonna be for us. Especially with Age of Ultron releasing in foreign territories this week. But next week I'm going to come back from C2E2 and probably have a lot of stories to tell.
All right, excellent. We definitely want to hear that. And also, you brought up Ultron. You know, we tacked Daredevil onto the end of this with our spoiler review, but Ultron is going to be getting its own Superhero Slate spoiler review special. So when that week rolls around, you're going to be getting 2 episodes of the slate. You know, you're going to get your news updates, and then we're going to gush into Ultron. So I hope you guys are ready for that.
Yes, it will be a weekend unlike any other.
Yeah, but you know, if they want to keep up with you next weekend live at C2E2, how can they follow you?
There are several ways you can follow me at C2E2. You can follow my personal Twitter at Valdan, Valdan. I'll be tweeting and taking pictures on the show floor. You can head over to comicui.com. We'll be posting updates there, on our Facebook and on our Twitter. And sometimes I write on Nerd Traffic. That's kind of fallen to the wayside. I feel bad for that. But with so much comic book news, you know, it's really hard to juggle all the content of everything going on these months leading up to the summer. So that's how you can get me. I'll be taking lots of pictures. I'm excited for that. Where can we do stuff with you, Mike?
Where can you do stuff with me? Well, that sounds pretty suggestive, but if you want to do stuff with me, you can follow me at Mike Royer Design. I am on Twitter and Instagram with that handle. I love posting up little drawings and stuff, and I also make webcomics over at pickledcomics.com, and if you follow me on my Twitter account, sometimes I workshop jokes for comics up on there, so that's always pretty fun. And always, of course, guys, make sure that you head over to superheroslate.com. That is the headquarters for the show, and that is where you're going to find all the show notes, all the links to everything that we talk about, all the links to review the show, to subscribe to the show. You know, we love getting people subscribing to this. We love bringing this stuff to you guys. I mean, we're definitely not going to be retiring on a private island with a podcast anytime soon. We're doing this for the pure love of it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the best way to put it is, head over to Superhero Slate, rate us on iTunes, subscribe. YouTube, we're going to try something new on YouTube this week. God help us for this one.
But we'll see how it goes.
We're definitely going to make sure our YouTube's going up quicker than before, and we're going to try something different, and you guys let us know how it works, so you know where to drop us a line at.
Yeah, but we love you guys. We're going to be doing this same time, same day of the week next year in 2016, talking about the crazy stuff that's coming out then.
Oh, good Lord, save us for next year, too.
Yeah, so we're going to love hearing about you early adopters that have been around since episode 1.
Yes, and we will sign your podcast.
Yeah. Oh man, what a week! I gotta go do something. I think I gotta go watch some Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's 11:30 for me, so I need to put this online so you guys can listen to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will catch you guys on the flip side.
All right, bye everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.